Namaskar, good afternoon. You are watching Rajya Sabha television. I am Smriti Rastogi with the midday news. Let's begin the bulletin with the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi returns from a successful Saudi Arabia tour. Both nations sign over a dozen pacts, including one on Strategic Partnership Council, rollout of RuPay card. Prime Minister Modi invites investors, says India to invest $100 billion in oil and gas by 2024. Vice President expresses concern over rising pollution levels. Addressing the international conference by CSIR in Nagpur, calls for promoting clean and renewable sources of energy, urges scientists and researchers to explore innovative, out-of-box and ingenious solutions. Terrorism, biggest challenge facing the Kashmir Valley, says the European Union delegation on a tour to Jammu and Kashmir. Accuses Pakistan of funding terrorism, asserts abrogation of Article 370, an internal matter of India. Maharashtra BJP convenes meeting of its newly elected MLAs to elect leader of the legislature party. Union Minister Narendra Singh Tomar, BJP National Vice President Avinash Rai Khanna to be central observers. Stock markets surge for second consecutive day. Benchmark BSE Sensex gains 250 points to cross 40,000 mark. Nifty advances over 35 points to top 11,800 in early trade. Prime Minister Narendra Modi concluded his two-day-long visit to Saudi Arabia today. Before his departure, in a tweet, Prime Minister Narendra Modi thanked King Salman and Crown Prince for their hospitality and said he had productive interactions with the country's top leadership. During his packed schedule, Prime Minister delivered a keynote address at the high-profile Future Investment Initiative, where he reiterated India's aim of achieving $5 trillion economy. He invited countries present at the forum to invest in India and promised them proper infrastructural facilities in the country. He said India will invest $100 billion in oil and gas infrastructure to meet energy needs.
साथियों, आज इस मंच से मैं आपको विश्वास दिलाना चाहता हूं कि भारत में प्रगति की ये रफ्तार और तेज होगी। हम देश के विकास से जुड़ा हर फैसला ले रहे हैं। न हमारी नीतियों में भ्रम है और न ही हमारे लक्ष्य में संदेह है। हमारे $5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी के लक्ष्य का रोड मैप तैयार है। यह लक्ष्य सिर्फ क्वांटिटेटिव ग्रोथ का ही नहीं है, पर हर भारतीय की क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ बेहतर करने का भी है। हम ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस में ही नहीं, ईज ऑफ लिविंग में भी सुधार ला रहे हैं। पॉलिटिकल स्टेबिलिटी, प्रिडिक्टेबल पॉलिसी और बड़े डाइवर्स मार्केट के कारण भारत में आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट सबसे अधिक लाभदायक रहेगा। साथियों, आज जब भारत में हम विकास को गति देना चाहते हैं, तो हमें उभरते हुए ट्रेंड्स को अच्छी तरह समझना होगा। और इसलिए आज मैं आपसे ग्लोबल बिजनेसेस को प्रभावित करने वाले 5 बड़े ट्रेंड्स के बारे में बात करना चाहूंगा। पहला ट्रेंड है टेक्नोलॉजी और इनोवेशन का प्रभाव। दूसरा, ग्लोबल ग्रोथ के लिए इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की इंपॉर्टेंस। तीसरा, ह्यूमन रिसोर्स और फ्यूचर ऑफ वर्क में तेजी से हो रहा बदलाव। चौथा, कंपैशन फॉर एनवायरनमेंट। और पांचवा ट्रेंड है बिजनेस फ्रेंडली गवर्नेंस।
Prime Minister Modi also called for reforms in the United Nations, saying it should be an instrument for positive change.
जब 70 साल हुए तब लग रहा था कि शायद यूएन में रिफॉर्म्स होंगे, बदलाव आएगा, नहीं हो पाया। अब यूएन 75 होने वाले हैं। मैं चाहूंगा कि दुनिया की सारी समझदार शक्तियां इकट्ठे होकर के 21वीं सदी में यूएन का रूप कैसा हो, नॉर्म्स क्या हो, उन नॉर्म को मानने की दुनिया की जिम्मेवारी क्या हो, उस दिशा में हम चलें। हम सिर्फ कोई एपिडेमिक हो जाए, कहीं नेचुरल कैलेमिटी हो जाए और यूएन लीड कर लें, उतने ही मात्र से अगर संतोष मानेंगे तो दुनिया को एक रखना, दुनिया को दिशा देने के लिए स्थिति नहीं बनेगी। भारत की तेज गति से बढ़ती इकोनॉमी के लिए ऊर्जा में निवेश बहुत जरूरी है और हम यहां मौजूद एनर्जी कंपनीज से इन अवसरों का लाभ उठाने का अनुरोध करते हैं। भारत में हम गैस और ऑयल के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में बड़ी मात्रा में निवेश बढ़ा रहे हैं। वर्ष 2024 तक हमारा रिफाइनिंग, पाइपलाइंस और गैस टर्मिनल्स में $100 बिलियन तक के निवेश का लक्ष्य है। मुझे खुशी है कि सऊदी अरामको भारत में वेस्ट कोस्ट रिफाइनरी प्रोजेक्ट, जो एशिया की सबसे बड़ी रिफाइनरी होगी, उसमें निवेश करने का निर्णय लिया है।
Earlier, Prime Minister held wide-ranging talks with Saudi King Salman bin Abdulaziz and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, during which a strategic partnership council was established to coordinate on important issues. Both nations signed 12 agreements in all, including one to roll out rupee card in the kingdom. Prime Minister, during his talks with Saudi King Salman bin Abdulaziz, exchanged views on working closely together to strengthen the bilateral ties. They also discussed cooperation in oil and gas, maritime security, renewable energy and trade and investment between the two countries. Both leaders also condemned terrorism in all its forms and manifestations and agreed to step up bilateral security cooperation.
Both leaders expressed their deep satisfaction at the excellent state of relations between India and Saudi Arabia, at the important decisions taken during the visit of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia to India, and expressed their happiness at the Strategic Partnership Council, which is being launched. Both leaders agreed that this high-level mechanism will strengthen partnership in all areas, including political, defense and security, culture and people-to-people contacts, trade and investments, etc.
And before his meeting with the Saudi king, top ministers of the Gulf nation called on Prime Minister Narendra Modi and discussed ways to further deepen bilateral ties in areas of energy, labour, agriculture and water technologies. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a discussion with Saudi Arabia's Environment, Water and Agriculture Minister towards exploring newer areas of cooperation in the agriculture, food processing and water technologies. The Saudi Energy Minister also had a productive meeting with the Prime Minister, and the two leaders talked about efforts to improve energy cooperation between the two nations. Minister of Labour and Social Development also called on Prime Minister and had a discussion. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also met King Abdullah II of Jordan in Riyadh. The two leaders discussed a range of issues to strengthen the bilateral ties by enhancing cooperation in several areas, including trade and investment and counter-terrorism. And some more developments. Vice President M Venkaiah Naidu has expressed deep concern over increasing pollution in many parts of the country. Addressing an international conference by CSIR in Nagpur, the Vice President urged scientists and researchers to find innovative and out-of-the-box solutions to curb the growing pollution threat. He said that research institutes have an important role in dealing with challenges. The Vice President said that quality of life depends on air quality. The Vice President said that public participation is necessary for the success of any program. He appealed to the people to take a small step on a regular basis on issues like pollution control, water conservation, environmental protection, among others, so that the world can be made a better place to live.
The country-wise, we have this challenge of air quality pollution. And also the water quality was also, because during our childhood days, I used to see overflowing rivers. They are not even flowing nowadays. Rivulets. We have successfully damaged all those rivulets. Tanks. Small. Even in the village, dhobis used to have a separate tank. Potters used to have a separate tank in my own village. And there used to be mini forest between one village and another village. There is no tree also nowadays and all. Because we have really neglected nature. So my appeal to the people of the country, particularly younger generation, is let us love and live with the nature. Love and live with the nature. Nature, culture, together for a better future. That's my advice to all people.
And a delegation of 23 European Union MPs is on a two-day visit to Jammu and Kashmir to assess the ground situation. This is the first high-level foreign visitors to Kashmir after the revocation of Article 370. Addressing the media, the EU MPs said that terrorism is the biggest challenge facing the Jammu and Kashmir, and they are with India in its fight against terrorism. They also said that Pakistan is continuing to fund terrorism, which has now become a global issue.
Majority of terrorists who have been killed, who have been put to prison, came from Pakistan. So it's an international problem. The change of the statute, the Article 370 for Pakistan is an internal issue for what we don't not have to be the judge. We have no reason to be judged. We have no legitimacy for that. And I think that the protests that are organized in all the countries should be directed to protest against terrorism, because all the problems of Kashmir are linked with terrorism.
And European Parliament member Thierry Mariani said that situation in Kashmir is under control. However, they condemned the killings of 5 migrant laborers by terrorists on Tuesday.
And I know that the terrorism now is a world problem. It's a problem of France, it's a problem of Europe, it's a problem of world, and I don't want Kashmir to become a second Afghanistan. The international of terrorism can find a new place in the future. And I think it's not your interest, it's not the interest of the world that the new place for the terrorism became Kashmir. And I think the fight against terrorists in this part of India is one condition for drop up the level of life of all the population.
And one man told me that there was too much corruption in India and Kashmir. Too much when money comes from central government, it doesn't always reach the project, or enough of it. It seems to disappear somewhere into the system.
The delegation reached Srinagar on Tuesday, beginning a 2-day visit to assess the situation in Jammu and Kashmir. The team interacted with members of the public, including newly elected panchayat members and councillors. The delegation also held a meeting with the representatives of the civil society. Meanwhile, terrorists shot dead 5 non-local migrants in Kulgam district of Kashmir on Tuesday evening. This was informed by the police there. One person was hospitalized with serious injuries. The attack took place on a day when European Union MPs are touring Kashmir to understand the ground reality. after the abrogation of special status under Article 370 for the state. Since the centre's decision on Article 370, terrorists have been targeting truckers and labourers, mainly who have come to the valley from outside Kashmir. And some other developments, MV Rajiv Gora has been included in the Vice Chairman's panel of the Rajya Sabha, effective from 28th of October. Satyanarayan Jatia, Tiruchi Shiva, T.K. Rangarajan, Sukhendu Shekhar Roy and Kehkashan Parveen are already part of the panel. Last year, Vice President appointed JDU MP Kehkashan Parveen on the panel of presiding officers for conducting proceedings of the House. She became the first woman on the panel in the recent times. And the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Science and Technology, Environment and Forest will now be known as Committee on Science and Technology, Environment, Forest and Climate Change. The committee falls under Rajya Sabha and covers ministries of Science and Technology, Space, Earth Sciences, Nuclear Energy, Environment, Forests and Climate Change. Changes have also been made to the standing committees under the Lok Sabha by the Speaker in consultation with the Chairman of Rajya Sabha. Standing Committee on Agriculture will now also cover fisheries, animal husbandry and dairy. Earlier, it was for Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare and Food Processing Ministries only. The Standing Committee on Water Resources will now cover the Jal Shakti Ministry. Earlier, it was for Ministry of Water Resources, River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation. The Committee on Rural Development will now cover Rural Development and Panchayati Raj. Earlier, it also covered drinking water and sanitation. The Parliamentary Standing Committee on Petroleum and Natural Gas has selected 15 subjects for investigation in 2019-20. The committee has selected the allocation of retail outlets and LPG distributorships, pricing and marketing of petroleum products, including natural gas, the subject of litigation related to oil PSUs. The committee, headed by Ramesh Biduri, comprises senior MPs from the Rajya Sabha, including Om Prakash Mathur, Ahmed Patel, Narayan Lal Pancharia, A. Vijay Kumar and Kanak Medla Ravindra Kumar. Some of the issues selected by the committee include contract management and transparency in procurement procedures in oil PSUs, energy security with specific reference to hydrocarbon resources and electric vehicles, CSR activities of oil PSUs, national gas grid, international cooperation in petroleum sector, review of progress in production and biofuels, and review of LNG infrastructure. The Parliamentary Standing Committee on Coal and Steel has selected 30 important subjects for investigation during 2019 and 20. The committee has selected 15 subjects specifically related to the Ministry of Coal for in-depth analysis. The committee, headed by Lok Sabha MP Rakesh Singh, will also examine several important subjects of the Ministry of Mining and Steel. The subjects related to the Ministry of Coal include safety in coal mines, production of lignite, projection and planning, skill development in coal sector, performance of Coal Controller's Office, implementation of information technology and vigilance activities to curb illegal coal mining and theft of coal in the country, compliance of environmental norms by coal or lignite companies, import of coal trends and issue of self-reliance, coal handling infrastructure at ports. The committee has also selected 9 important topics related to the Steel Ministry for investigation. And time for a very quick break. Stay with us.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. a salute to diversity, promoting public discourse, events that motivate, inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
Welcome back after the break. The Maharashtra BJP Legislature Party is meeting in Mumbai to elect its new leader. Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis is likely to be elected as the leader of the BJP Legislature Party. The BJP on Tuesday named Union Minister Narendra Singh Tomar and party's Vice President Avinash Rai Khanna as central observers for the Maharashtra Legislature Party meeting. And northeast monsoon has renewed its vigor with most districts receiving heavy rainfall in Tamil Nadu. 8 districts have announced holiday for educational institutions due to rain. Schools and colleges will remain closed today. Some of the talukas in other districts have also declared a holiday. The Indian Meteorological Department in Chennai has said that all the southern and the delta districts in Tamil Nadu and Puducherry are set to receive fairly widespread rain today and tomorrow. And now let's talk about the news related to environment and climate change. High Mountain Summit is being held from October 29th to 31st at the World Meteorological Organization's headquarters in Geneva. More than 150 institutions and stakeholders are participating in the conference. The summit seeks better cooperation between governments, researchers and space agencies to fight the effects of climate change globally. Mountain-sourced water supplies provide about half of all the drinking water worldwide. Rising temperatures melt glaciers and change precipitation patterns and river levels, affecting the availability of fresh water. To cope with the effects of climate change on water systems, dams have to be redesigned and irrigation systems need to be overhauled. The summit is expected to create the Integrated High Mountain Observation and Prediction Project, which intends to help deal with hazards through early warning systems. And news now from the stock markets. Markets remained bullish for the second day today as Sensex surged ahead, crossing 40,000 mark, up 263 points in early trade. Nifty too hit an intraday high of 11,884 points. Top gainers were Bharti Infratel, Z Entertainment, Infosys, Bharti Airtel, Nestle India and ITC. News now from the international front. The UK is set to go to the polls on 12th December amid Brexit deadlock as the British Prime Minister's election plan clears the House of Commons. This after British MPs backed Boris Johnson's call for an election by a massive margin of 438 votes to 20. Johnson said that public must be given a choice over the future of Brexit and the country. Parliament will dissolve next week and the parties will go into overdrive on their 5-week campaigns. It will mark the first December poll since 1923 once the House of Lords passes the legislation and it becomes law by the end of the week. Sports developments now. Shiva Thapa and Pooja Rani advanced to the final of the Olympic test event for boxing in Tokyo on Wednesday. In the morning session of the semi-finals, Thapa, a 4-time Asian medalist who claimed his 3rd national title earlier this month, defeated Japan's Daisuke Narimatsu. Pooja Rani, a former Asian Games bronze medalist, beat Brazil's Beatriz Soares in a unanimous decision. Rani had won a silver medal at the Asian Championships earlier this year. And that's all we have for you in this edition of Midday News. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.